stories matter and books matter. And so storytellers really matter. I'm joined by one such storyteller. His name is Goeorge Gachara, the author of The Reverse is True, a book he wrote a while back when he was only 24 years old, a semi-autobiography that attempts to answer a lot of hard questions in life.
Well, I always knew that I'd write a book at a point in life, perhaps after my retirement, or something lofty after I have lost office, like they do. But then it's interesting that at the time, I never thought I'd write a book, and especially in my early 20s. But at the time, there were thoughts in my head that I wanted to capture, like a picture, so that then, as I grow up, then I start to remember the things that actually made me who I am, in the way that I thought of them at the time. And so I guess such were the drivers to writing stories, and then the stories piled up.
So you've mentioned very important fundamental issues. You're talking about masculinity, nationhood, and manhood, as it were. Did you get the answers to all these questions that you were asking?
The writing of a book was inspired by a young person trying to capture images of growing up in those clear ways that life erodes as you grow up, before things become blurry and experiences start losing their texture. I needed to write them down so that I can always remember. And so by putting a story to them, I validate my growth and validate the stories of many people like me.
Goeorge, writing this book, what was, in your definition, in your experience, what are the struggles that a young man in Africa, in Nairobi, is facing as he's growing up and trying to set his place as a man?
Well, I wouldn't know what a young man growing up right now in Nairobi is going through. The clarity that I know, just what my experience was growing up in different cities, with very little parental authority, growing between competing religious worldviews, and trying to form in that mixture what is my identity. And so that is a story with a book of trying to lay a finger on what masculinity is, what being a good man, what being a successful man means, or what the images of being grown man would actually mean. And I think a lot of people go through this through these challenges, but the challenge of actually distilling them and seeing them for what they really are. Like, one of my best stories is I got my first job with the British Council World Bank project. And so I go back home, my dad tells his friends, this is my son, he works for the World Bank. Right. For one moment, I'm very excited about having an identity related to this big brand, until I lose the job. And so my dad starts saying, this is my son who used to work for the World Bank. And I start to wonder, what does that mean for me? Am I now less of a person? Is my humanity defined by what I own, what I earn, and what I find in the marketplace? And so those are some of the conversations about developing identity that I'm trying to explore within between the covers.
So finally, tell us where we can get your books, and of course a book review is not complete without reading the actual book reading. So pick a favorite part of your book and give it to us.
Well, the books were available in the market for a while, but then they were bought, all of them. And then I paid rent with the money. But anyway, currently I'm negotiating with the publishers to get another shipment to local bookshops, but you can find it on Amazon online. You can both buy the e-book, which is cheaper. You get it instantly, or you get the paperback version that is mailed to your post address. So just go online. I'm sure you'll put the details on the screen here. And people can interact with them. Great. It's on page 59, the 4th chapter. And it's my ideas around predicting the future, because everyone is interested in predicting the future. It has become apparent to me that there is no other reality other than that which we are responsible for. There's not a set of rules or a blueprint that we may follow, or some book lying somewhere that is going to tell us what our life means. Things like religious instructions or school education or parental counsel are just direction signs along the journey that we are taking. Our lives are like a big blank sheet, and we have a lot more freedom than we are actually ever comfortable, because we can translate our lives to whatever or however we want it, to make it mean whatever we want it to mean. You see, this notion is very frightening, especially since we are afraid to deal with the responsibility, or rather the gift, of having a whole life to create or to frit our way.